Go.
Okay, we are making crepes today, and I know that many of you out there already know how to do this. I'm going to make sweet crepes and savory. So, and it's all a technique. It's not anything, you know, amazing and hard. It's just major steps. So, first thing, we're going to make some crepes. Now, I gave you the minimum recipe. I'm just going to make it with 2 eggs, and flour, salt, and milk. That's it. You can throw in a dash of sugar if you want. If you're making sweet crepes, I don't bother. So you mix up your eggs. Now this is all a ratio. 1/3 of a cup of flour. That's 2/3 to 1 egg to 2 eggs. So that was 1 egg, 1/3 of flour, 1/2 a cup of milk. But like I'm doubling it, so it's fine.
So it's 2 eggs, 2/3 of a cup of flour.
Well, with 2 eggs, 2/3.
2/3. Got it.
Okay. Now I've got a cup of milk here. I'm going to put maybe a 1/4 cup of milk in there because it's important when you're mixing this. Oops, I almost forgot. I'm going to put a couple of tablespoons of butter into the pan that I'm going to make. And by the time that is melted, this is going to be ready. So you're mixing this up until it's smooth. And the reason why you are only putting a 1/4 of a cup of milk is that if it were really, really liquidy, the lumps wouldn't come out. But you're going to see the lumps come out of this really quickly. There, it's smooth. It's smooth. You add the rest of the milk. I usually add it in like 2 parts. So this is going to be very, very thin. It's going to be like cream and not even heavy cream.
It's always surprising to me how liquidy it is, and yet it always comes out beautifully. And if you try to make it when it's too thick, it does not come out. It does not.
Okay, and what did you say about the butter?
Okay, it is now melted, right? Throw it in and mix it up.
How much butter? 2 tablespoons?
2 tablespoons. You've got a pan that is greased. Just leave it. Now, recipes say to keep this to let it sit for a half an hour. Part of the reason why I've never done that is because I always think about it at the last minute. And so I never bother, and it doesn't matter. I don't believe it matters. Hi.
Carol, we're getting closer to seeing you.
Yes. Well, I was visible until I started mixing that up about 2 minutes ago.
So we're looking at 2 eggs, 2/3 of a cup of flour, 1/3 of a cup of milk and 2 tablespoons of melted butter.
1 cup of milk.
1 cup of milk.
1 cup of milk. Okay.
Okay. Now you could
Thank you.
make this in a 12-inch or 10-inch pan. I like an 10-inch pan. Or is this 8-inch pan, because it's much more forgiving and you don't have to worry about, I mean, sometimes it gets like too big. So what I'm doing now, watch. That's it. I just swirled it around. It's cooking.
How hot is your pan?
What?
How hot was your pan?
It's a hot pan because we just melted it.
Okay.
Now you can see now supposedly the first crepe doesn't get nice, but I always use it anyway. What the hell? Right, Kelly? So
Feed the first one to the dog.
No, the first one goes to the cat.
But I'm
Yeah.
the dog here. I'll eat it.
That's what she always used to say. The first one goes to the dog, to the cat. The first one goes to the cat.
I can eat it, and I like it. So, and the first one is done.
Ta-da.
Ta-da! And then it just keeps you're kind of in a production mode. See? Just swirl it around.
Okay, does it have to be whole milk?
What?
Does it have to be whole milk?
No. No. You can actually use skim milk.
Okay.
You could, now I've never done this, but you could use only water. But I generally use, if I'm short on milk, I'll fill it up, I'll top it up with a little water. Doesn't matter. It's fine. Now you can see it's getting brown around the edges. And that's what it's supposed to look like. And what I generally do, Jacques Capron flips it. I never do. I can't do it. I cannot do that. So I toss it out for another one. Notice, you do it in the corner. You're not putting it into the middle. And then you're swirling. And then while that is cooking, I flip it over. The reason why I do that is that this is the side you want to serve to people because it's nicer. It looks prettier. It looks prettier.
Okay, mine got all like mushed
Mushed.
when I tried to flip it.
Maybe
It often looks like scrambled eggs.
too soon.
Maybe.
Maybe it was too soon.
Okay.
Yes. It needs to be really set on the bottom. This is the reason why I love a small pan, because you don't have to worry about it. It just happens. Now, if I tried turning it now, it would be mushy. It would be mushy. But you're seeing how brown it gets on the bottom. Now, this is about at a medium. It's not scorching hot, but it's a medium heat. And then you flip it. And then I turn this one over. And it's only about 30 seconds on this side.
Kate, you're not putting anything between them. You're just stacking them one on. Okay. I wasn't sure if they'd stick together.
Actually, they'll be fine.
Okay.
We cooked them long enough. Now, if I were freezing them, I would do it differently. If I were freezing, I put things between, just because I've been there when I defrost them and they stick together. But
And if I'm just saving them for dessert, I can just set them aside?
yeah, for sure. For sure. You can just set them aside. Notice how it's like cooked. You can almost see it being cooked. And then you flip it, and it's nice and so I'm going to show you some crepes that I've made. This is just a production number. You know, you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. And now, when I had children here, they liked being right next to me. So they would go directly from here to their plate to their stomachs. But if you make them ahead of time, I'll show you some that I've made. Oh, good. Well, I screwed that one up. Good that you saw me screw it up. See?
Because it doesn't matter.
Well, you know, I'm gonna not use this one until the end. Or maybe
You'll eat it yourself.
I'll just eat it. So when I was in France, Kelly, nobody cared.
No, it absolutely does not matter. It tastes good anyway.
Yes.
I just did a good flip.
Bravo!
Nice.
But I made some a few hours ago because I wanted to. And you can see they come apart really easily. There's no problem. So. And the thing that's nice about crepes is you can make them up in advance. You don't have to make them at the last minute ever, unless you want to. And like I was telling you, when we were in France, Kelly, I was standing there making them, and they were going out as quickly as I was making them. So.
French people love crepes. It's not even a stereotype. This is a real thing.
Yeah.
And it's the party trick. Like.
Yeah. So I'm only going to make a couple more, and then I'm going to show you how to make savory crepes. Rather than, see, I've got half a bowl left, and I figure you now know the technique. I've got some, so you might as well not watch me make 3,000 of these, you know, if that's okay with you, Carrie, since you're
Totally fine.
totally fine. Okay.
It's good to watch you swirl.
Yeah, I do that. Yeah. And I do that even
You're a good swirler.
even when I'm not cooking, I'm a good swirler.
You are.
Okay, so the first crepe we're going to make is a savory one. And I made some this afternoon out of mushrooms. This is shrimp. I have some leftover shrimp. It's about half a pound. And I chopped it up. And I'm going to,
Is this a good spot for a funny seafood story?
well, only I'll interrupt because I've got to tell about what I'm doing here. So
Okay. Go ahead. Okay. Because it's just right now. Years ago, my mom and I were in Omaha for some godforsaken reason. And we decided to go to this little French bistro downtown for lunch. So I said, oh, look, they have crepes, and Mom and I love crepes. So this was decades ago. I mean, literally decades ago. And so we decided on the seafood crepes. So the waitress comes up, and she's chewing gum like right out of a commercial.
oh my God.
And she says, what can I get you, ladies? And I said, very Midwestern, you know. And my mom said, we'd like 2 orders of the seafood crepes. And she said, what? And she said, the seafood crepes. Here, she says, you mean the craps, the seafood craps. So for 40 years, my mom and I, every time we went out, we talked about, let's have some crabs for lunch.
Yeah. I just melted 2 tablespoons or thereabouts of butter and 2 tablespoons or thereabouts of flour. And we're just making a white sauce. So it's kind of important to cook out, since I'm medium heat now, you want to cook out the raw flour taste. So you're cooking it out, which is lovely, for about a minute. It's not long. You don't want it to brown. Otherwise, you make it into a roux, which would be a New Orleans thing. So, it's starting to brown, so I'm going to throw in 1 cup of cold milk. If it were hot milk, you've got to be more careful with it. But here is the cold milk. And you have,
Sorry.
it's beginning to thicken up.
I appreciate that.
So all you're doing is making gravy, basically, only this is white sauce. All right, and it's going to have cheese in it, so it'll be even more lovely. Okay, now, take care of it, pumpkin. Okay, so now what we're going to do is throw in a little bit of salt. Not much, but you're going to be salting, and pepper, and you'll love this, Susan, nutmeg.
Gotta have nutmeg.
Okay, so I'm going to turn this down because it's now very thick. Now, you can actually use this the way it is, but there's something that a lot of recipes do, and that's enrich it with an egg yolk. So I'm going to go back, show you about that. It also thickens it up a little bit. So
What you're doing is just a standard bechamel, right?
yes, I'm enriching it now with an egg yolk. And I'm throwing a little bit of cream. This could be milk. It doesn't have to be cream. Into the egg yolk. Mixing it up. Now, if you were to throw this into the hot sauce, it would cook this egg yolk and you'd have lumps. You don't want that. So what you want to do is temper it. And this is what you do. You put a little bit of the hots in, and then you mix it like hell. That stops. Oh, I seem to be really dropping a lot of stuff today. That stops it from curdling the egg. Then you put this back in here. Like this. And put it back on to the stove. Just until it warms up. Just until it's cooked. This will thicken it up more. It'll also be very enriched. It'll be nice. But again, I'm telling you, you don't have to do that. You don't have to. You can just use the white sauce if you want. So I'm bringing this to a simmer, and then I'm going to turn it off because it's going to be a Mornay sauce, which means I'm adding cheese to it. Coming up to, yeah, it's getting very hot, cooking that egg, but we want it to stop. And then, not very much cheese for this amount, just a little bit. And you basically have a really nice cheese sauce, which would go on vegetables or almost anything you want. This is your standard Mornay sauce, and it's really fine. It's just fine.
What kind of cheese did you put in, Kate?
Swiss.
Okay.
But I have been known to use Parmesan. Because why? Because I have it. You can also, this is also what you use to make homemade macaroni and cheese.
Oh.
This is your cheese sauce for macaroni and cheese.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it's really, really good.
You'd probably make more of it, but this is the cheese sauce. Yeah, and you can switch out the cheeses. You can add more cheese or less cheese. You can have like cups and cups of cheese in here. It doesn't matter. This is your technique, your thing. If your kids really like cheddar cheese or I've never made it with American cheese.
Velveeta, but it makes the best like American style mac and cheese.
Oh,
yeah.
I believe you. I believe you.
And you don't have to try it to verify. Just guarantee Velveeta makes a really good mac and cheese.
Okay. What I put in here for earlier today was cooked mushrooms and
Bailey.
and garlic. Okay. What I'm going to put in here for you guys is leftover shrimp.
I just have to show you all my crepes.
Yes.
Yay.
Oh,
that's
beautiful.
Hey.
Well done.
Perfect.
All I've done while you've been doing all what you're doing, but still.
So there's the shrimp it's a little orangey because the shrimp was the juice from the shrimp was kind of orange. But that is your filling. I'm going to move back over here and fill some crepes for you. But there's lots of different ways of doing it. And I'm going to clear the decks because I have thousands of things here, which are really annoying.
Does anyone remember the old Magic Pan restaurants? Probably went out of
Oh,
business
yeah.
years ago.
South Coast Plaza had one by us. Loved it.
This is what I would order every time, either this crepe with mushrooms or spinach or the coquille Saint-Jacques with scallops.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I miss that restaurant terribly.
I do too.
That can be that restaurant. So there. Okay.
Hey, Carol.
Cleared off. Got it cleared off. And what we're going to do is fill the crepes now. I have an oven-proof dish. It can also go in the toaster oven. Hi, Carol.
Hello.
You. So good
I
to
snuck
see you.
in.
So I'm only making a few of them, but okay. Now there's lots of ways of doing this, okay? You can actually put them on a platter and stack them up and fill them until they're a cake-like thing. Yes.
Can you turn the camera down just a little bit so we can see your,
Right.
thank you.
Oh.
All right.
Okay. So you can stack them up. I'm going to roll them. You can also fold them. If you fold them in quarters like that, you can have filling in there. It's totally up to you. It's what you want to do and what you have the patience for. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of sauce on the bottom of the pan. Great. I need a spoon. Put some across there and just roll it. These are like, Bonnie, these are like the enchiladas, only instead of tortillas, you've got chichi French stuff. I gotta tell you, I one of the first dinner parties I ever made as a young bride, I was living in England. I made these as a first course, and I thought I was the epitome of elegance. What can I say?
You
So
are, Kate. You
make about
are.
5 of them. You probably can get 6 out of this mixture. Believe me, they are plenty. It's plenty to have 2 for each person. And you can see why I flipped them over, because I'm not flipping them when I get here. Okay. Now, these can go in the fridge if you want. You can wait. Or, now what I'm going to do is cover them with like this. And what you would do is put them in under a broiler in your toaster oven, or in the oven at 425 for about 10 or 15 minutes, just until they are, you know, heated through, and maybe a little brown on top. And one of the things that I'm going to do is put a little bit of cheese on top so that they will brown. And I don't know, I don't know what it is about this combination, but it always makes me like feel like I'm so swelligant, elegant. Elegant thing. So I'm going to go over and put it into the toaster oven for a little bit, and then I'll be back and make some sweet crepes.
I have a story for the mushroom ones, mushroom and Swiss.
Uh-huh.
Once when I was a young and impressionable 18-year-old girl, this very handsome man on whom I had a terrible crush
I know.
made me these beautiful crepes. They were this exactly made with champignon, made with mushrooms, mushroom cream sauce, all Swiss and beautifully brown. I could not believe how delicious it was. And that was 25 years ago. That was my husband.
Married him for his crepes.
Wonderful.
Exactly.
Great story, Kelly.
I love it.
But still wonderful. Okay, so that was, and honestly, with this, you can do it with vegetables. You can do it with leftover chicken. You can do it with any cooked leftover vegetable is perfectly fine in this. You can throw in a little curry seasoning if you want it exotic tasting. You know, what the hell? Whatever. You know,
Let
make
it all.
it the way you want it.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
As long as you like it. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make crepes Suzette. This was another one of those things that I did when I was a young bride, figuring that I was going to be elegant and all of that. But I didn't make them this way. I took a sugar cube. I know this is going to sound weird. I took a sugar cube and rubbed it all over the skin of the orange. I had a stack of sugar cubes that were orange from the zest. It took me forever. Forever. And then I juiced the oranges and used that sugar for, you know what? You can do the same thing by just zesting an orange. Hello. It's just, you're going to zest 2 oranges and about 2 tablespoons. Again, this doesn't have to be exact. You can do it however you want to do it. This is, now I got these from the neighbor's tree. I washed them off so that there isn't squirrel slobber on them.
Yeah. Kind of you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Appetizing, isn't it? Yeah. So here you go. And
Hi, Noelle. I saw Noelle. Hi, Noelle.
oh. So here's the way you make crepes Suzette. Now, am I going to flambe it? I don't think so. But
oh, come on.
Singeing my hair. I've got lots of
come
hair.
on.
You got hair to spare, Kate.
Next time Damien flambéed something, he nearly caught the cabinets on fire and we had to wipe down the entire kitchen. Yeah.
You just don't overdo the flambe part.
Yeah. Well, I don't know whether I'll do it or not. I have to think about it. Okay?
1 little sugar cube with a little bit of brandy on it. That's all you need to do.
Okay. I didn't include this in the recipe, but I like to throw in a little bit of butter into it. So you don't need it. So I'm going to throw in butter, and I'm moving I'm moving over here again. So that you can see this. Okay, so you need kind of a big pan, depending on how many you're going to do. And I just melt a little bit of butter. Throw in the juice. I guess this is about three oranges. It depends on how juicy they are, how much sauce you want. A couple of tablespoons, maybe a quarter cup of sugar. Okay, and then you bring this to a boil. Now what you're going to make is kind of a caramelized sauce, a kind of thickened sauce. So you've got, by the way, you can use almost any kind of juice the same way. Orange juice, lemon juice, but the zest makes it very special. It tastes great. Throw in the zest, stir it around, and bring it to a boil and boil it for a couple of minutes. Not very long. People used to do this. You know, have you ever heard of a restaurant called The Proud Bird?
Yeah. By LAX?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
The way it used to be.
Didn't they do it tableside?
Yeah,
Yes.
they did it at your table.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got, what you're doing is bringing this to a boil. Now, I don't know whether I don't remember them bringing it to a boil at the table, but they had the sauce and then they'd flambe it at the table. It was very exciting. Is the Proud Bird still there, Dina?
It's still there, but it's not what it used to be. They completely redid it.
That's what I heard. My sister went there not long ago. She said it was a lot of fun, but different from what we
Yeah.
grew up with.
It's not the fancy place it used to be. It's a lot more.
Isn't
casual.
there a
went from
don't they have it
fancy to a strip
adjacent to like
club.
an airport museum there or something now, she said?
There's a lot of planes right there, but it's, I don't know. I haven't been. I just want to remember it the way it was.
So as it comes to a boil, it's going to start boiling down. The sugar is going to dissolve. You're going to really smell the peel. So you've got a really strong flavor of. And then the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to wait for a minute, just a minute. Now, again, you don't have to put the butter in it, but I like it. I didn't include it in the recipe, but I kind of like having it kind of buttery and nice. And you would really want to serve this like with vanilla ice cream too, or whipped cream. That's always good too.
Because
Okay.
it's just not rich enough the way it is.
Oh, no. It doesn't have enough calories in it. No. Okay. So what you're doing with your you are folding them. I like folding them in quarters. And I'm going to turn this down so it isn't completely. And fold it in quarters. And then push it to the side. And now this is dead simple. It's dead simple. You saw me do it. There's nothing to it. But okay, so this would probably be enough sauce for like 8 of these. But it's amazing to me how good it is for how just simple it is. I've got 6 in there, so that's fine. And, okay. I don't know whether this is gonna work. Okay, this is liqueur. It's a little warmed up. It's warm. So let's see if we can make it flame. I don't know whether we can. Yeah, it doesn't want to. It tastes good anyway.
You tried.
I tried. Wait a minute. Let's try this. Here, I'm warming it up.
Oh, that's dangerous
I know.
because you've got a steel thing. It's going to get
Gotta
real
burn.
hot.
Alcohol doesn't burn at a very high temperature.
Oh, there it goes. It's actually,
Yay.
There you go.
Nice. Little blue.
little
A bit
bit.
of blue, yeah.
Well, you can't see them because the light's too big. But there you go. And I guarantee you, these are totally delicious. They're really
Voila.
good. Then you turn it off and you serve it. And you serve it with ice cream. This is one of those desserts that is really simple. And you usually have an orange someplace or orange juice. And you have all of the rest of the ingredients. So, there you go.
Ta-da!
Bravo.
Bravo, Kate. Bravo.
How you
Yay.
doing? Okay, I just lost everything.
We can
Where
still
are you?
see you.
I
Oh,
can
good.
see you.
I'm
See you.
glad because I can't see anybody. But any questions?
Those
Any
are
great
beautiful.
ideas for chocolate crepes?
Oh,
Ooh.
chocolate. Oh, Kelly, talk about that crepes.
Okay. The easiest way to do a chocolate cup is to get that stuff called Nutella. And just that's the easiest way. But if you want to be a little bit fancier, you can do it the French way, which is you take your cooked cup and a very, very small amount of butter and you put it back in that pan. And then you take a little bit of chocolate. It can be chocolate chips, it can be shredded chocolate, just something that's going to melt easily. And you put it in onto that cup and then you fold everything over the top. And once you've folded the top over, then you flip it once just so that you get, both sides warmed, just a tiny bit of crisp, and then you serve it. And that's great with whipped cream. That's great with crème anglaise. That's great with ice cream. And if you do it with vanilla ice cream and that's a dame blanche. No, it's not a dame blanche. It's Norwegian. It's a Norwegian crepe, as they say in France.
Mm.
That's like a hot chocolate, hot fudge sundae, but with a crepe in it. That's just to die for. It's amazing.
Oh, wow. That sounds good.
1 minute. I got
But it's entirely more civilized, Kelly, than just eating the Nutella with a spoon out of the jar.
It is, isn't it? So it's so wonderful.
You feel a little bit more civilized with a crepe.
okay. Do you know this?
Do you
Look,
melt
Damien.
Nutella?
Beautiful.
There you go. That is
Yay.
seafood crepe.
Mm.
Ah,
I can see the food.
It's
Bellissimo.
my dinner for tonight.
Tilt it down so we can see, Kate.
What?
Tilt it
do
down
you
so we
need?
can see. Tilt it down so we can see.
Ouch, 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 ouch. All right. Got it?
Oh,
It's so
Look
pretty.
at you, Kate.
that's
I take
beautiful.
right there.
There you go.
All right.
And then, of
Love
course,
it.
I'm having crepes is that for the,
For
the
dessert.
you know, for dessert. So
Very cool.
Yum.